Alright, hey everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. See, I guess mine was pretty good actually, not too busy, which was a bit strange for me. So I had a little bit of free time. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into programming. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad I left this little note because I was trying to remember what I wanted to do last time. Looks like I was basically in start timer created component. Okay, so what I was trying to do was I wanted to separate the exiting phase from the entering phase code. So for example, here where we have, okay, let's actually, okay, what's this? Yeah, the timer watcher. Okay, so like what happens here is when it says handle timer complete, it both like exits the previous phase and then enters the next phase. So it'd be nice if I could separate that somehow. And I mean, it still has got to kind of tell what phase it wants to start next just by adding this component, but then anything else like this command that is, I guess, incidental to entering in the next phase, it'd be nice if I had a separate system that would do that for me. So like here, set up system group. It would be nice. So what I think I was trying to do here was have this pre-game start timer created variable, or not variable, component. Make it a generic like phase setup or something. And then the system would run to set up this phase. So I think what I was going to do instead of well, yeah, there's two ways I can do it. So I can either have it work like this one, where it looks to see if a component is not on the phase, and if it's not, or a component's not on the phase entity, and then it would run this setup. Another way I could do it would be to have like a phase, like a new phase entered component that would be added. I think either one could work, but I kind of like the new phase entered because that would allow me to not have to worry about removing this component when we exit the phase later. So first what I want to do is get rid of this one. Let's just make struct command setup new phase. And so here we would instead want to search for both that this phase has been entered and then that the command is present. So we can get rid of that part. Oh. Did Unity has crashed apparently. Alright, well I'll just let it work for a bit before I worry about it. I don't know why that happened because I haven't updated the Unity version, but hopefully that's not a sign of things that come for the stream. Anyway, we'll just let that load in the background. Okay, well, yeah, this is obviously the same thing twice, so that's not what I want. It's command setup new phase. Alright, and then, well, maybe, okay, usually these command components need to be removed by this object, which I guess is okay. Another way I could do it is just have the part that enters into this pregame start phase to go ahead and cue this to be removed the next frame, but yeah, so this starts the next part. So yeah, the board creator is what yep, sorry, I just got back from a run, so my brain is a little not in programming mode just yet. Okay, yeah, so we want to add this component to the entity, and then I guess we'll have to add the command setup. New phase. Okay, so this is one thing that's a little annoying, is that I have to, whenever I want to add, like begin a phase, I also have to add this setup. So I'll have to be a little careful, because I could see maybe forgetting to do that. We could have like a helper function that would be transition phase, and you'd give it the 2 phases, and then it would also add this component. I don't know what would really be better. Okay, but anyway, so let's go through. So I guess we go from this pregame start, and then it's the pregame timer watcher. So what we want to do is instead we want to add this, and then we'll make another system that will deal with adding this incoming guesses component. Now, all these setup classes are pretty much the same. Should I just have like a parent class that would deal with this, and then well, it seems like to me the only thing that the parent class would really have would be this query, but maybe that's still worth it. Okay, so let's I guess I'll just call this the phase setup system. And let's see what I can take from here. Okay, yeah, so this one update in a group because it's going to be a generic, so it won't be automatically added. System, and then I guess we'll have the phase component. Alright, okay, so we'll need to have the buffer system. We won't want this archetype, and then we won't want the state necessarily, and then we'll have this query. Okay, so yeah, there's a few things in here that we can save ourselves from having to type over and over. Okay, and then this is the phase component. We have that right there. Okay, and then all we'd really do is... Okay, so I can at least make this be generic. Alright, so we'll have... First I need to make this an abstract class, and then protected, abstract, void, setup. And this will just pass the entity command buffer. Okay, so this would be the part that would go in the setup. And also, I guess, all the stuff with the timer. Oh, right, and I don't need to have a body for an abstract function. Okay, so then this pre-start game setup would inherit from phase setup system of type pre-game start. And, okay, so we'll still need the timer archetype and I guess the state. But then we won't need any of this stuff. And we won't need an update function. We'll just need the setup, which will just have this and the timer. Okay, so that's, I think, going to be nice to have. So we'll need to do that for all the other phases, but I think I should at least test this. The only other thing I think I might do is, so you can get rid of this for now so that the game will compile. Yeah, whenever we enter a phase, I should also have it add the command setup new phase. It'd be kind of nice if I had a helper function. I don't really know how needed this is, but static class setup, or let's say phase flow helper. Alright, so then we'll just have the phase component. And it will need to take either a command buffer or the entity manager. Alright, so all it would do is add the component to the buffer, and then, oh, what's it not like about this? Oh, because I didn't specify that the phase component must be high component data. And then we also need to add the command. So what's it still not like here? Oh, okay, so I just need to give it like a new phase component. Does that work? Type phase component must be a non-nullable value type in order to use parameter t. Oh, okay, so I had to do that. Alright, there we go. I just had to tell it this was a structure. Okay, and then I don't need to have that there. I haven't used generic variables too much with the entity system, although it seems to work nicely with it. I guess we'll put that there, just in case. Okay, so I don't really know how useful this will be, but I mean, I guess it does condense 2 lines to 1, so phase flow helper. You know what, I should just put it in the core, I think. it's not going to be any of this stuff, but... Okay, so I'll just make a new class for it. I think this will be better. It was kind of messy to put it in this other file anyway. So now board creator has it, and we'll just say interface phase pre-game start. And okay, so we need to make the version that takes the entity manager, or any classes that do that. Which doesn't really change anything, but I just have to have two versions. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out just to make sure that it at least enters the guest phase. Oh, and also that Unity doesn't crash again. Hyper namespace. Okay, it can't be found. Is that what's causing to not be able to compile? Okay, there it goes. So let's just give it a bit to load. Using debug tile pair assignments. Okay, that's fine. And I'm just gonna look and see what flow the game is on. Okay, yeah, so it did move past the phase start, so that is good to see. So now I need to go and update the rest of the phase transitions, which really shouldn't be too difficult. So we have the guess timer. So the starter, this doesn't change because... Oh, well, I need to make one for when we enter the guess accepting phase, so... They're all kind of be... similar to this. I was gonna say I wonder if I need to put them all in one file, but it might be cleaner if I put them in their own file, like folder. I don't know. I usually, yeah, because it's starting to get quite a bit of different script here, so I think we might need to shrink the system a little bit, and it's kind of annoying to change them mid-game because usually when you switch the folder it doesn't automatically change the namespace. But alright, so this will just be phase setup. Really the namespace doesn't matter because, well, for these systems, because the systems don't really talk to each other. Okay, and so now we'll have another component system, and this will be the accept guess setup. Right, and I can kind of just copy this code. And so phase accepting guesses, if I can spell it. There we go. Okay, so why is it complaining? No suitable method found to override. Oh, this is the wrong thing. Oh, you know what? I just moved the timer watcher. Alright, let's change this. Yeah, so this is phase setup. Okay, so I do need this pre-game's timer watcher to tell me what code I need to set in here, but I didn't need to copy and paste it. So I don't think we have to have any of this stuff. So this accept guest setup is going to be pretty simple. And all I have to do is make sure that this remove, or make sure this delete incoming guesses is off. And also here, I should probably, oh, I did add it, okay. Okay, let's go ahead and do some more. So this pre-game timer watcher, I think I'll have also a phase exiting folder while I'm doing this. Okay, so I don't need to have that anymore, and I should use my little helper function. Maybe I'll even make a way to add and remove at the same time. So public, static, void, transition, phase, exit, phase, enter, phase. I want to experiment with this. I was just thinking, like, I wonder if I'm kind of overcomplicating it, which I sometimes tend to do, but at the same time, I am still learning about the entity component system, so experimenting with this will be worthwhile, I think. Okay, how do I... Okay, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to specify where values for two different variables. I've never had to do that before, I just realized. Let's look that up. We'll learn a little bit about C#. C#, where for multiple types. Okay, oh, is this the new line? Okay, well, that's kind of interesting because a lot of times... Oh, maybe it probably doesn't have to be a new line, you just have to use another where keyword. But it'd probably look better if it was a new line. Anyway, so really all I have to do is first remove the exit phase. And then I could just call enter phase and then with the other type. Okay, and I'm not going to write the entity manager version until I think I actually need it. So now I can just do this. Oh, yeah. So I transition from pre-game start to accepting guesses, and then I pass the buffer. All right. let's test this one more time. So what should happen is when we enter the guess, it should transition, and then this other phase will delete the incoming guesses command from the command entity. Oh, do we have a definition for pregame timer? Oh, sometimes when you duplicate or when you move files around in Unity, it has a tendency to duplicate the file. So where's the most up-to-date? Oh, so we have two. So I don't want this one. It's kind of annoying. I don't really know why that happens. Let it recompile. All right. Okay, so looking good so far. Oh yeah, so it's just phase accepting guesses, and I can see it doesn't have the remove incoming guesses flag, so I think everything worked. Okay, so next we need to look at the guess timer watcher, and this will be moved up into the phase exit. And I think I could delete this comment now because it was working fine. Okay, so what I want to do is split up a lot of like this command part and then this delete incoming guesses part into another class that would set up the next phase. So yeah, the pick and check guess phase. So pick and check guess setup. Yeah, it'll be more like this one. Pretty simple. Okay, yeah, so what I want to do is, yeah, the guest timer watcher, I want to move a lot of this code to this new setup class. I don't need to do that one because that's the phase component that signifies or signals that we're in this check phase. So this just adds in these other commands that are kind of supporting. Okay, and then the timer watcher will just call the phase transition helper, and it'll transition from accepting guess to pick and check guess. All right, so yeah, that was pretty simple. Okay, so next we check calculations finished watcher. Yeah, I think this is the one that watches for, yeah, this to end. So this will again move on to the phase exit. And what do I need? Well, this will basically stay the same, except this part and this part will be removed because we'll want to put that into the setup. So let's go ahead and add the reveal guess setup. And again, I think I can copy some of this code over. And this should be phase reveal guess. Alright, and then here we want to add this timer. Okay, and so for the timer I know I need the archetype, so I need to get some of this code. Alright, so I need the states so I can set the timer, but yeah, I don't need the buffer system. I don't need any of these singleton, or any of these require for updates. Oh yeah, because this part is for exiting the phase. Okay. Alright, so yeah, we can take this part out, and this part out. Okay, so I need to also add this command. Okay. And now the only other thing I need to do is call transition. From the pick and check guess to reveal guess. Oh yeah, and then I need to... I don't pass it that, I pass it the buffer. Okay. So yeah, I think this is good. So let's keep on going. So now this is dealing with the reveal timer, so now I have the reveal timer watcher that I need to move up. And I think this might be... well, maybe we have one more after this. Okay, so this one's pretty simple. It, first of all, it just transitions, and then this unreveal unpaired tiles is really the only special command I have to issue. Okay, so this is the cleanup phase. And it is also a simple one. Cleanup board phase, and it is looking for phase cleanup. Oh yeah, I need to tell it I'm using the components namespace. Oh, I have game and round cleanup. I guess it's round cleanup. What does this do? Yeah. Okay, so delete incoming guesses. Okay, this is left over. Okay. So delete all that, and then all I have to do is just add this component. And then here... Oh yeah, this is the reveal timer watcher. Okay. So I just need to tell the phase flow helper transition from reveal guess to round cleanup. Okay, so I think we have a couple more. Okay, so I guess I can move this setup system into the phase setup. I'm just looking through here to see what else we have to do. Wasn't there something happens? Yeah, this cleanup complete watcher. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so yeah, right now we don't know, like we don't excuse me, handle the game being totally complete yet, so I was trying to remember how I did that, but we just don't do it yet. I don't, yeah, because what happens is you clean up and then it goes back into accepting guesses. Okay, so what I want to do... Actually, everything here is fine, I think. Except I can tell this to... Oh, well, it has this delete incoming guesses, so yeah, I can delete that because we already have the accept guess set up, which removes it already. So all I have to do is transition from the phase round cleanup to accepting guesses, and then also this might be different depending on if we win or lose, but so we'd have a branch there. But yeah, I don't handle that yet. Okay, so I think that's fine. Hopefully Unity didn't duplicate any files. Looks like everything worked. Oh, okay, so I just need to give this the command singleton entity. Alright, so looks like everything's good. Now let's see if we can play through the game without any issues. And then we can actually move on to something a little bit more fun. Yeah, I was thinking we might get to guesses today, but I think our scoring, but I think we actually might just need to figure out if there's a win. That looked... Was that right? It looked kind of weird. Okay, no, it's just my eyes. I thought this changed to a different color. Okay, so A1, B1, it should actually be a pair. A2, B2. So far, everything looks fine. Yeah, C2, D2. And blah, blah, blah. Right, last row. We'll guess A4, B4. And guess C4, D4. Okay. Yeah, so now it should say that we've won, but it's still just accepting guesses, obviously. And I think there is a strange thing that if I keep guessing, it's going to say there's not a match, even though if I guess A1, B1, it is still match. Oh. I thought before it said there wasn't a match. Maybe I was just being weird, but yeah, even if I do guess that, it doesn't really cause any issues because you can't add a component twice, so... But yeah, that shouldn't ever happen in the final game, so I'm not really going to worry about it, because the game should, one, not let you guess, or it should throw out any guesses for tiles that are already revealed, and it should also not let you guess anymore once all the tiles have been revealed, because that means the game's over. Okay, so I'm going to guess again, and I'm going to watch this singleton just to kind of see how it... I mean, it's going to transition really quickly, so it might be hard to follow, but... Okay. I didn't notice anything weird, but yeah, it did go by really quick. Anyway, so, okay, what I need to do now... I mean, there's two things. First off, I need to deal with ending the game and restarting. And then I also want to make sure that guesses do not involve already guessed tiles. I don't know what would be... I mean, either one is fine. I guess since I'm working on the flow right now, we might as well continue with that. So let's go ahead and try to restart the game. So, really we would know if the game was won right after we pick the guess. So, probably... Yeah, so I kind of like the idea of just doing all the logic during the guess, check, and match phase. Or, yeah, what's it called? Yeah, pick and check phase. And then just reacting to it for the rest of the time. And I don't think, like, players can't really influence the board in between there, besides having, like, special, like, graphical or sound flourishes. So I don't really think there's any problem with doing it this way. Okay, so we have... This part just sees if it's a guess, but we'll need something else that will wait for this to finish. And would then check to see if there are any unpaired tiles. Alright, so... Let's see the... I probably... Actually, I don't really know if this will need to be a job, because basically we're just gonna look at... I'll just make it a job system, I think. But we're mostly just gonna look at like a query and see how many components it has in it. So we don't really even need to know the data inside the query. I'm just gonna leave it like this. So this will be check when state, or check board complete. I like to make systems kind of like a noun, so board complete computer. Okay, yeah, this can go in the simulation system group, and it's going to kind of work like this featured guess match checker. I think it will wait for a specific command and work from that. I guess we will. Yeah, it'll be a lot like this because we're gonna create an entity if it is complete. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to find any tiles, oops, that don't have the revealed component. We also need to make sure it runs after this is done. So, okay, so we have this featured guess match result. So I can just make sure that this exists before we continue. So I don't really need the... I don't need the featured guess, but I need to know if it's match result. Isn't there something else that runs? That requires this, I thought. So I'm wondering if I should wait for that to actually happen. Featured guess match checker. Oh, that's this. And then we have the guess calculations finished watcher. Okay, so what this does... Oh yeah, so okay, so the featured guess runs, and then this match result runs, which tells you if the featured guess is a match, and then I guess we'll tag one other thing on it, which will tell us if the board is fully revealed or not. What's it complaining about? Does not implement on update. It does? Oh no, it doesn't. It just implements on create. Okay, so anyway, we're going to want tiles that have... I guess tile position's fine. We don't really care about the image. We do care about if it's been matched, so... Nope, that's not it. It's this tile pair guest, okay. Okay, and then I'm going to need to create a command. I'm kind of wondering, should I just put the command up here? Well, that kind of tightly couples it, so... I was thinking like maybe we could just put the structure in the same file with the system to kind of maybe make this file not have so many structures, but I don't know if it really matters. So check board complete. Okay, and then we'll also have public struct. So I'll need to create something even if it's not complete. I think I'll just have another boolean like this that has is matching or not. Does anything even use this? Oh, well, we will use it when we create or figure out how many points. So this will be board complete state. Public bool is complete. All right. So this is command check board complete, and then the archetype is the board complete state. And begin presentation. I mean, I guess that's fine. That's kind of a weird place to put it. It should be at the beginning of the next frame, I would think. In fact, I think I might change it in here. I think that might be left over from some other code that I had copied. Because there's nothing in here. Oh, actually, where's the code? Oh, okay, yeah, that was left over from when this happened in the reveal phase, so we wanted to make sure this ran before the game figured out what tiles to reveal, but it doesn't work that way anymore. Okay, so yeah, that's good. So we require... Yeah, we make sure this data has run, which just makes sure that this system has finished. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, that kind of makes each of these have to run on its own frame, which slows down the game a little bit, but I don't really know if it matters a whole lot. I don't know. So I think I'll leave it. I mean, we could maybe have this run after the featured guest match checker. Oh, but then these components wouldn't have been added yet because this runs at the beginning of the next frame. Yeah, so I don't think it... Yeah, I'll just leave it like this, but if I notice the game's running slow, we can try to clean it up a little bit. So let's see, what do I do here? I guess I really just need to check how many tiles are in the query. Yeah, and I don't really require this for an update, actually. This shouldn't require it either because we want it to run even if there's no tiles. Anyway, so what I need to do is really just see if this tile query has no tiles in it. No, that's not right. We want to make sure that the number of tiles in it equals the board size. So I need another query for the board. Okay, board query equals get component type. Oh, it keeps on giving me that one. I don't know why it thinks I want the lowercase version of it. Okay, so what I need to do here is first I need to find the dimensions, or the number of tiles. Board dimensions equals, I guess I have to get the board out of the entity query. So board query get R2 component data array. And this would be the part that I could have done it in a job, because I could just tell it to fill this data out in a job. So maybe I will do that just for fun, but let's try it like this in the main update function first. Our board dimensions equals boards 0. Oh, don't know why it froze there for a second. And I'm just going to assume that there's always one board, so we'll just use the first in the array. I think other classes already assume that. So, I mean, I guess I could... Part of me can kind of see having multiple boards being played at the same time, but we can support that later if we want to. So yeah, then number of tiles equals board dimensions. Again, this might not be true, but I think right now I do enforce a square board. Did I write that down somewhere? Highlight strings. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I just assume a square board, which I guess. Well, I guess I probably should, to make it easier to guess just for users, so they can use the chess notation. Otherwise, I could just put a number by each card. But I mean, yeah, if we want to make the game support non-square boards later on, I mean, that might be a fun project to handle. But for now, we'll just assume a square board. And okay, so anyway, bool is complete equals num tiles. If the number of tiles is I guess it should be equals to the tile query dot calculate entity count. But just to make sure that this is like I don't run into any problems where a game can't end because of some weird bug, I'm just gonna say as long as there's more tiles in here than there are on the board. More or equal. Okay, so we can get the buffer now from the buffer system. And then buffer dot create entity of the result archetype. Not gonna give it to me. There we go. And I need to get a reference to it so I can set the data. Set component, entity, and then it's a new board complete state with is complete equals is complete. So it's actually relatively simple. And then what I do is the cleanup board setup. Well, this cleanup complete watcher, I'd want to delete this component, but then it also needs the data here. So how should I handle that? I guess this buffer can just read the data and then delete it. I think that's okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems a little messy to me. But what's the better option I could do? I guess I could have... Well, all I would really be doing is just kind of passing it along, because I would maybe have some other system that would look at the value in this board complete state and then would add different components to the system, or like the flow entity. Which, I mean, I guess could also work, but I mean, it seems kind of like just passing the problem along. I don't know. I can't decide what I want to do. Let me look at... There's a system that deletes the unneeded. But yeah, so clean up Entity Destroyer. So all it really does is just gets entity queries and then deletes them. So we could easily add that other query here, but I don't really... Yeah, I think we'll just go with a simple thing. It's a little messy, but... Okay, so I guess this will then need a query. So... that's not what I wanted. I guess board complete query. Equals get entity query of component type read only. So I guess it was a board complete state. Yeah. And that's about it. So var complete state equals to component data array. Temp drop. Oh, and I just remembered. What was the other function that I was just doing? Oh yeah, this computer needs to destroy the boards array or dispose of it. Okay. States. Okay, I think that's good. And the complete states 0, so basically is complete equals complete states 0 dot is complete, and then I'll just dispose of this. Okay, and then if is complete, then we'll need to go to the game over phase. Which would be phase game cleanup, I guess. I don't even know why I created this already. I guess I was just thinking ahead, but... Probably, I mean, we'll have like a scoreboard, I bet. But I don't really know. Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to add phases in between here, so I won't worry about it right now if I do anything else. So for now, we'll just basically, what it will do is enter back into the board setup and then reshuffle around tiles and that kind of thing. Okay, so let me see. Should I test it? I guess I should test to make sure that we enter this phase before I do anything else. Oh, and yeah, I already almost forgot. I need to delete all the entities in that query. So buffer delete, or yeah, destroy entity in the board complete query. Which again, it seems a bit messy to me, but I'm not sure the better. Well, I already had that other option, but it seems like not much cleaner than what I have now, so I think I'll just write a little note here. Don't include board complete state in these queries since the cleanup watcher requires it. Again, maybe this problem is kind of like a signal that all of this code should just go in the watcher because there's no reason for it to really be a separate system. Which, maybe. But I already have it, so I'll just leave it. Alright, so now I gotta wait for it to compile again. Alright, and so we have B1. I need to look really quick because it's probably gonna... Oh, I didn't do that right. So guess A1, B1. I'm gonna try to pause it and look. So we have the guess match result, featured guess. Okay, I don't see the completion. Maybe it's because it's not in a system. I always forget to do that. Oh no, it's in simulation. Oh no, it's because I didn't add the command. Okay, so that's what I need to do here. Check board complete. And that is in setup. Oh no, yeah, here. And then I guess this part that checks to make sure everything is finished should also require the board complete. Before it runs. Let it compile for a bit. Alright, let's try it again. So guess A1, or B1. Okay, I can see that it's like creating entities over and over. Probably because I think I forgot to remove the command entity, but at least the value is correct. So yeah, this buffer should remove the command checkboard complete entity from the, or component from the command entity. And now it's got to recompile to fix that. But at least that did work. Okay, so I'm just gonna... Okay, so yeah, the complete state did get deleted. That's good to see. I guess I'll just run through these again. And we'll go ahead and check if it does successfully let us exit the game. Oh yeah, C3, D3, and A4, B4, and now this the last one, C4, D4. Alright, so now we're in the game cleanup. Okay, so let's delete incoming guesses. Oh, that just sticks around. And I guess we do want to keep it. Yeah, so I think we're good. Okay. So we entered, like, it all worked right. So now we got to figure out how to actually set up another game. So basically I want to trigger the board initializer again. So I'm trying to find it here. Simple board initializer. I don't really know why. I guess, yeah, because I noticed that we're just initializing the board as a square. So all this does is run... It runs on any board that doesn't have the initialize tag. Which I guess is fine. And what it does is just creates new tiles. So, I mean, actually I don't need this to run again. All I have to do is I just need to remove information from the tile components and then get the... what's it called? The code that figures out the pairs. I'm trying to see what it was. Like the tile... Oh yeah, the tile pair, okay. So this runs whenever... Okay, this command is input, except it seems like it works a little different. Okay, it's... Yeah, I have it as a message, or like I have it work as an event, so the entity just gets destroyed the next frame. Which is fine, but I think I might change it to work as just the other commands I have set up. So I'll just rename it like this because I want to change the way that it works on some of the other systems. So I can just change this to be require singleton for update. And then this already has the buffer, doesn't it? Or does it not have a buffer? Okay, that's a little bit of a shame. Well, it needs, doesn't it need to have, like, how does the game know that the tiles have been paired up before it moves on? I guess it just assumes that they've been paired up. Like, it doesn't actually send an event or anything. I mean, I guess maybe that's okay. So this should come like the pregame initialization, right? Like during the pregame timer. Actually, it should happen even before that. Well, let's see. Where is the code that actually creates that event? Okay, so the board initializer is what adds this message. So I want to change that for sure. Yeah, so what this does is create, and also does it on a post update command, which is kind of bad. When do these setups run? They run at the beginning of the yeah, it's the begin simulation, so I really should just make the board initializer work like that too. Okay. So, I mean, later on we'll need to be able to create different boards, so I kind of wonder if I should, at the end of the game, just have the board be deleted and then we remake it. Because new boards, because the players will be able to resize the board and maybe reshape it if I support non-square boards later on. So I think it might just be easiest if at the end of every game the board is just completely destroyed and then we create a new one. That way we can also not have to worry. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so we want to be able to delete the board and then just start fresh. Yeah, so that way we won't have to worry about using data that's already in the game. I think that's what I was trying to say. Okay, sorry, it's been a long day. Okay, so yeah, this initialize component is fine. So really, we're gonna change the way this works. Maybe I shouldn't have. Well, I guess we gotta do it now. Okay, so do I need... So we have the pregame timer, and I guess at that point the board should already exist, so we kind of need to have like a board creation phase before that. So we have the pregame start, public, extract, phase, create, and set up board. Oh, I can just call it create board. I think that's good enough. And this will be, yeah, we'll just generate all the data that has to happen before, like after all the information from users has been gathered and before the game actually starts. So first of all, right now we have the board creator class that kickstarts the entire game at the moment. Should actually do a phase create board. And then this simple board initializer, it will actually just wait for a command, and then instead of initializing a board, it will create the board entity, I think. Alright. Yeah, this board creator right now also creates the board entity and sets the dimensions. So that's fine. But we'll need to also tell the board initializer how big we want the board to be, so we should have some other component that handles like the game settings. So I'll make another component here. This will be like, I don't know, settings, or I guess game settings, because it's not like user settings. So we'll just have board settings, and for now it'll always be square, so I'm not going to even worry about that. So we'll just have float dimensions. Okay, so now this board creator mono behavior won't actually create the board, it will just create the new settings entity. Oh, yes. I need to fix up the namespace there. Okay, so board settings, blah blah blah. And let's just name this to settings, actually. Okay. So we're kind of doing like another layer of abstraction, but I think this is how it's gonna have to be in the final game. And this board initializer, I think we should go ahead and upgrade it from being simple to the actual board initializer. And I think I might even name it like board creator, because that's kind of what it's going to be doing. Okay, so yeah, we'll have an archetype for the tile, and I guess we'll also need an archetype for the board. This query, I'll rename this to settings query, and this old one we won't want anymore. Alright, and really all we need is the board settings. Get rid of that none part. Oh yeah, this is the wrong thing. Do I want to require? I mean, I guess we do need it for sure, but I feel like this should run even if there's no settings. Really, the only thing it should require is that command. Command initialize, or command create. Alright, and then we'll require singleton for update. Okay, and so now we are going to be creating a lot of entities, and I don't want them to be in the post update command, so we'll get an entity command buffer so that they'll update all at once, and also speed, which will speed things up quite a bit. So world get existing system, and these should run at the begin simulation system group. Oh yeah, not an entity command buffer, it's an entity command buffer system. Okay, so what this does is before it just looked for the specific board and did things with it. I'm just going to delete this entire thing because it's not really helping me at all. So now I want the board settings, which we can get from the settings query. I'm thinking, do I want to do this as a job? And I think yes. So let's change this to job component system. And now I need to have a job handle and oh, didn't have that already. And then job handle input dependencies. Okay, so yeah, we'll still want to have this. So to component data array, board settings, and it will be temp job. I should have just used my file template so I didn't have to fix up all those namespaces. This will be settings, query dependencies. Again, so what this does is Unity will wait to fill out the data in this array until this job runs, so you can use these dependencies to make sure that a later job runs after the array has been filled up. So this initialized board will turn into a job. So private structure worker is an I job. You don't really have to do any kind of special type because it's just gonna run once. And we want to have the entity command buffer. And we want to have the entity archetype for the board archetype and the card archetype, which I think I called tile. I should call them cards really, but not that big of a deal. And I can just copy this. Okay, so another thing I need, which this will be read only, is the native array of board settings. And we're just going to use the first value, so settings. Okay, let's not do that, I guess. Settings 0, dimensions. Okay, so the number of tiles is obviously the dimensions. What's it not like about that? Cannot. Oh, I think I made this a float 2. It should be an int 2, actually. Yeah, because you can't have. Well, I guess you could, but I was going to say you can't have floating point dimensions, but yeah, lots of things do, but not this board. So buffer, create entity. And then we set the position, and then we also are going to create the board, but it'll work differently than that. So board entity equals buffer.create entity board archetype, and we'll also want to set the dimensions on here. So set component. Dimensions equals settings 0 dot dimensions. Oops. Alright. And I think it makes more sense to move this above the tiles. Not that it makes any difference. So we can get rid of that function. Okay, so now that this is done as a job, it doesn't really make any difference, but this will happen on a separate thread, which could speed some things up. So we'll want for dependencies equals new worker. Right, so we need to give it the settings. Oh, I forgot to put public here. equals board settings, board archetype, board archetype, tile archetype, tile archetype, and the buffer. We've got to create one from the buffer system, which we also will need the buffer before that because we've got to remove the command. So remove component, command, create board from the singleton entity. Okay, so that's fine. And buffer equals buffer. Okay, and since we use this buffer in a job, we need to remember to tell the buffer to wait before it runs the commands inside. So first we'll combine the dependencies that we need to wait for. Okay. So now, yeah, like I said, we tell the buffer system to add a job handle, which just means that it will wait for this worker job to finish before it rewinds. That's what Unity calls it, before it executes the commands. And then we also need to tell the board settings array to dispose when the job is complete. And then we'll return the dependencies so that Unity can pass that on to the next system. Okay, I think this looks good, and it's a lot better than the old one. Good. Well, I guess I was gonna say, should I test it? But I think right now the game would be kind of broken if I did. So this tile pairer also needs to have a command. So let's see. Struct command pair tiles. Oh, I already have this. I guess it can update after. I don't know if it will actually matter because of the post-update commands, but okay, so did I remove this from the command entity? No, because it doesn't have a buffer yet. Okay, well, let's just deal with that first. So we'll need a buffer system. And I guess this will a setup system group. I'll have this run in the simulation. There's really not a reason for it not to, I think. That way it can run at the same frame as the board creator. I mean, really, this could be as a system group as well, but or a simulation system as well. Is world dot get existing system. Okay, so this will run at the beginning of the next frame. Okay, so yeah, that's normal, so I don't want to delete that. Okay, so first I guess we'll get the buffer. And then we'll tell it to remove the command. Oh yeah, from the... I have to give it this entity. And... so what else do I want to do here? It already runs only once tiles exist, which is kind of nice. I need to make sure... like, it needs to have some event that it passes on when it's done. Do I want to add that to the singleton entity? So the store data worker just puts things on the tiles. So it should have some event that tells the game that it's finished. So tile, pair, randomization, complete is I component data. Oh, can't type, I guess. There we go. I guess I should make another worker for this. Complete worker is an iJob. And all it will have is the... Well, I guess it will have the singleton entity. I guess it's technically read-only, not that it really will matter, so... command entity, and then we'll have the entity command buffer. And all this will do is buffer, add component. So complete tile pair randomization complete on the command entity. I think that's fine. Usually I just have these create an event when they're done, but we don't have any data here actually, so. So now we need to have another worker equals new complete worker. So this command entity is the command singleton entity, and then we have the buffer. Okay. Schedule, and I'll just run after the last worker. And then again, I have to tell the buffer system to wait to execute its commands until this worker has finished. Okay, and then the watcher that waits to exit the command or the setup phase will look for that event and then the existence of a board. Okay, so this is create board complete watcher. Okay, so it's pretty simple. We require singleton for update. That complete. Oh, yeah, or I'm in the wrong namespace, so that's why it wasn't working. There we go. And then I need to also require for update the existence of any board. So once those two things, oh, and I guess I should also require the phase create board. Okay, so when these three things happen, I can just transition to the next phase. Okay, and this should go in the what was it called? The phase transition system group. I wonder if I forgot to do that for one of these. Okay, no, I didn't. I guess this was the first new one I've actually made. So we transition from the create board to the pre-game timer phase. Oh, and I don't have the buffer for that. I guess, I mean, I could make a really, really simple superclass for this, but oops, not what I wanted to do. And maybe that would be worth it, but I don't know. I kind of am tired of messing around with all this bookkeeping type things. Alright, so then we pass the buffer. Alright, and now we need to make something that sets up all those commands. So this will just be the create board setup. And I can just add any of these systems. Go ahead and copy the namespace too. Alright, so what do I need to do here? I guess, yeah, we'll add this delete incoming guesses for sure. And then I need to, what's it complaining about? Oh, yeah, this is phase create board. Okay, so now I have a couple commands. So command randomize tile pairs and command create board. And I think that's it. Alright, so let's, I know I've kind of changed a lot between testings, but I thought if I tested any one piece, there's going to be too many things broken. So I kind of had to do all that at once, I think. Alright, so I'm going to watch the entities closely. I think it'll be kind of obvious if something is messed up. Okay, that was pretty good. So yeah, we have this new board settings. And the board is fine, except, yeah, board doesn't have that initialized tag, but doesn't look like anything actually cared. Yeah, so we're accepting guesses. Oh, and I forgot to remove this tile pair randomization complete, so let me do that real quick. But before I make the game recompile just for that, let's see if it still works correctly. Looks like it did. Okay. So when we exit the create board complete watcher, what I should do here is remove that tile pair randomization complete. All right. So that was all pretty painless. Now what is the next step? I guess when we win the game, we'll want to be able to restart everything. So I need to... Alright, so now I need to think about cleaning up again. Part of me is wondering, does the cleanup even need to be its own phase? Because it's just one system long, and all I really do is just create or destroy entities. I think I have it as another phase right now because I might want to have some type of what's it called? Some type of animation. But if I do, I can always add another phase in between. So now that I've made these phase exits and setups a little easier, I'm kind of wondering if just this, on the reveal timer watcher, if instead of revealing the cleanup, I go immediately to the next phase and just delete everything I don't need. I guess. Because the only thing that runs during the cleanup phase is that the entity destroyer. So all I'd have to do is kind of just move these into the reveal timer watcher, and then, or even just have a singleton class that would take it. I'm not sure. I mean, that does kind of like tie everything up into one big class. So maybe it's better not to do that. I don't know, it does feel kind of weird just to have a phase that nothing actually happens in, but I guess we already have that compute phase, so I don't know. Okay, I think I'm taking too long trying to think about this. I think I will go ahead and remove this for now, and then again, if I ever have any work that actually needs to be done in between these phases, it's, as I've seen, it's not really that difficult to add one. Okay, so in that case, I don't really need either of these. We would just delete everything immediately and then move on to the next phase. So yeah, I'm going to be a little destructive here and just delete all of that. So maybe, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Private, void. I was going to maybe have like a function that would be clean up round and then clean up game. Kind of like to have that in like another file, and then just this file calls it, but I don't know if there's a way I can get queries easily. I guess I could have it in a system that doesn't have an update function. Let's see. Can I? So really I'm combining a few things here, like this cleanup complete watcher. It already doesn't really wait for anything, it just runs on the next frame, which should have been my first inkling that something was a little weird or unneeded. But it does have to figure this out, so. Alright. Okay, well if this is too complicated we can try to remove it. So first of all, I'm going to want to get this entity destroyer system, and we already have the buffer system, so that's good at least. Although, does it? Buffer system is phase transition entity command. That's okay. Well, actually, this doesn't even work. Be there. Okay, yeah, so that is right. And then this. Okay, so what I want is this query. Okay, and I'll rename this to round and deletion. Or I guess destruction, because I call it destroy instead of delete. And then I'll have another one for game and destruction queries, and then I'm going to need one more for the game complete query. Okay, so first of all, so I remember to delete this. Well, it has that error, so that's fine. Well, I don't have to do anything except get this. Okay, so we have the delete queries. And I guess now I can add in the game complete or board completion state. And then game and destruction queries. New entity query. And so yeah, we'll have a lot of stuff to do here, but I want to get this logic done before I actually do it. Oh yeah, I don't need a parentheses. And then the game complete query I can get from cleanup complete watcher. Here. And then this, I know all these files are confusing me, but so this code I can move down here and I'll not, so this is actually the phase create board. Alright, and I already have this buffer, so I don't have to get it again. Okay, and then what I would also do is, I don't need to destroy that, but I want to destroy all of these queries. And this is only if it's complete, so. Okay, so that's actually not too bad. Then, so we'll get entity query. And what were some things? Well, I gotta destroy all the pieces, so let's do that first. I guess this will just be anything with component type, or not piece. I was thinking of my board game I just was working on. Well, I didn't need to destroy the board, but I was actually looking for a tile. Oh, I did this wrong. So it's read only. Alright, there we go. And then we also want to delete the board. And I think that's it. Well, we'll also clear scores and stuff, but we don't do that yet. Okay. So yeah, we'll destroy any query that has, or any entity that has tile position or board. Alright, so that's not too bad. And then I guess I can delete a lot of these classes, which I can always get back with my what's it called? Version control if I need it. I'm sorry, my brain is starting to melt. So okay, we have this reveal timer watcher, and then I want to get rid of the cleanup complete watcher because it's obsolete, and then also the cleanup board setup. Okay, I do have this unrevealed unpaired tiles, which I guess I can really just add to this reveal timer here. So yeah, if it's not complete, we'll want to unreveal unpaired tiles. It should be fine there. Okay. Cleanup board setup gone. And then this unreveal, I just want to make sure. Okay, it already doesn't rely on the phase of the game. It just relies on the command, which is what I want. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully I didn't completely mess up anything, but I think this will make the game code a lot easier to understand. Get rid of some superfluous stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it real quick, and I think we'll probably have to end the game, or end the stream here, but we might be able to... Actually, I think I've done everything I need to do to be able to restart the game, so let's see if that works too. So far, so good. I'm gonna guess something wrong just to make sure that it does unreveal those tiles, and it does. Okay, that's good to see. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go through all these again. SC2, D2, and B3, and 2 more to go for B4. Probably write a little script to make this a little easier, but hopefully... Well, I'll probably be testing this a lot actually, so that might be a worthwhile diversion. Okay, so what happened? Okay, well I think it did work actually, because yeah, we have this board here, and these tiles are here, but they're not paired anymore. Do we have like... Yeah, we have duplicate tiles if I look in the scene. Yeah, so what happened is it just didn't delete the old ones, which yeah, I guess I should have seen coming. But it actually worked perfectly, and I don't see any extra entities that I needed to worry about. Alright. So, what do I need to do? I guess I just need to... Well, tomorrow we'll work on deleting those extra components. So we finished that. So let's see. Remove tiles after... Or I guess remove tile game objects when the game ends. There's duplicates of them, so yeah, I'll have to think about how to do that. Probably, because right now I think that the game objects are tied to the position on the board and not like to a tile ID. So I might want to change that, because at some point I could see tiles being like shuffled or something if somebody changes the rules to do that. But anyway, we'll worry about that tomorrow. So I guess, yeah, I better stop here. So thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. I know today was maybe a little bit of a boring episode, because all I did was kind of mess around with code, but sometimes you gotta deal with the game flow, and it's not always the most exciting, but hopefully tomorrow will be a bit more fun. I think after we deal with hiding these game objects that we don't need anymore, we should be able to move on to dealing with users finally and scoring, and maybe I'll think more about the graphics and make some better tiles, and maybe I can download some user images. That would be kind of fun, but we'll see. But I'll put some links in chat if you're interested in following me on various social media. I have most of them. I do have a YouTube channel where I'll post any previous streams if you missed them and you'd like to see it. I think that my board game videos just went up yesterday, so they should be there. And yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for that. And also, I'll put links in the description so you can check out my stuff there too. But I should be live tomorrow at 3 Eastern, or just normal time. For some reason I'm having a hard time with time zones at the moment, and we'll probably, actually we won't work on this tomorrow. We're going to be doing a cool little sprite wobble shader, kind of like the games like Yoshi Island or Baba Is You, so that should be fun. Haven't gotten to do a visual effect in a while, so yeah, so feel free to stop by if you're interested, and I hope to see you there. Great. Have a great night. Bye-bye.